Robert and I have not known each other for an extremely long amount of time. But I can tell you, we met at Walmart. I complimented his kicks, and he thought I was hitting on him. I wasn't. I was genuinely complimenting his shoes. And ever since then, like, we've been cool. I really enjoy the conversation pieces that he adds. We discuss his life, his adolescence, his misbehaviors, where he went wrong a couple times, the bad things that he's done. It really analyzes how telling our kids, like, as parents, how telling our kids, like, you can't do this, you can't do that, how it actually attracts the children more to those things instead of just letting it happen naturally, letting them find out for themselves, but quite the opposite, drilling into them, like, you are not listening to this music, you are not hanging out with these people, you are not doing this, you are so attracted to it, like, you want to figure out why this forbidden thing is so forbidden. So it's really interesting. I think it's pretty funny. He has little funny tidbits here and there. There's a couple other segments of this discussion that I'm going to go through, but they're completely different topics that can be divided up into different discussions. So that's what I'm going to do. And I hope that y'all enjoy. I hope that you get something from it. And thank you for watching / listening. Robert.
Samantha.
Our money.
That's what they call me.
Or Mr. Quick Fix 24/7.
QF.
QF.
That's right.
Every time I think of Quick Fix, I think of the fake urine. But that also very much applies to your life because you smoke so much.
Well, I quit smoking weed, actually. Because it's like...
What?
Well, I have to focus more on life, so...
Wow. What a great time to do this discussion, because I did not even know that.
Yeah, so I quit smoking weed. And then
One second.
I was hanging out, and everything was great. I gone to the hot tub, and it was at the hot tub with my boy Orson. And
hey, Mom, can you turn that light on, please? Oh, never mind.
Magic. Yeah, so I was in the hot tub, and I stopped smoking for probably like a week or something like that. And I went to the hot tub with my boy Orson and his wife and kids, Greer and Bonnie, the 4 and 2-year-old. So yeah, and then after that, I went and hung out. My friends came over, and I just couldn't breathe that night. I thought I was gonna die. I was like in bed, like couldn't breathe. I was like, yo, what's wrong with me? So then the next day, I had heartburn. Like, I don't know. I've never had heartburn. It doesn't actually feel like heartburn.
Oh, this is when you were like, I just got over my first heartburn experience.
Yeah,
like,
so I was freaking out because I thought I was gonna die, and I didn't know what was going on. And I didn't want to go to the hospital, and my mom was like, "Yeah, just go right now. I'll pay for it. I don't care how much it costs." I'm like, "No, I'll be fine." And then it took a long time, but yeah, it was just like heartburn, I guess, because I started taking Nexium, and like a few days later, it was fine.
Few days.
Well, Nexium takes 4 days to kick in, so like I took Famotidil or whatever, and like some other stuff until then. And then the Nexium like just knocked it out. I'm like,
days.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, cool. I guess it really was heartburn.
I guess I wasn't dying.
Yeah, because I thought it was over. I just felt like I had I'm like, yo, if I had lung cancer or something, they're not going to be able to save me now if I feel like I have this huge lump in my chest, I'm like...
And you were probably stoned and paranoid.
Well, I wasn't high. I'd stopped smoking, but yeah.
Oh, you had stopped smoking at that point.
Before that.
I thought that's what made you stop smoking.
Oh, hell no. That's what made me start smoking again. So, like, I was like, man, I was all stressed out, and I just started smoking weed again, like, as I had these, like, terrible chest pains. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start smoking weed. It'll be fine.
Thought I had lung cancer, so I'm gonna smoke some more.
Yeah. So I just got toked up, I was like, every day I just be like, yo, I hope these medicines work, and just get all high all day. And it was really because I really couldn't eat anything either, because like my stomach was all upset, and like it was a terrible week, really. It's like one of the worst weeks of my life, probably. And then after that was all said and done, I was like, you know what? Let me get back on track. And that's when I stopped smoking again. It's been like, I don't know, a week since that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Well, geez. Well, good thing, I don't know. Good for you.
That I didn't die?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got over your first heartburn experience. It's very interesting.
It was terrible. I don't understand how people live with that.
It is awful. It's absolutely awful.
I'm sure hoping I don't have GERD. Because, sad days.
Yeah, that could happen from smoking, right? Yeah or no? I don't know.
I mean, it says it can, but I'm just like,
It's all in your esophagus. It's what you eat, too. It's your diet. If you drink a lot, but you don't really drink a lot, you said.
No, but I don't eat very well.
Ghost
I eat
Patrol.
out like every meal. I don't cook almost ever.
Well, I mean, like, eating out's not terrible. It's just what you eat when you eat out.
Like
Is it
burgers
spicy?
and stuff.
Burgers, no bueno. No bueno.
Put the jalapenos on the burgers.
Oh, dude, there you go. There's your acid reflux.
And then yeah, it's just good.
Oh, hot sauce.
Well, if they have it.
Yeah.
I like sriracha a lot. There's no sriracha on this, so yeah, I have already.
Wait. Sriracha? Like
Yeah.
Sri Lanka?
Yeah, sriracha.
Sriracha.
That's the only-
Sriracha. I thought the I came before the R.
I don't know, but it's sriracha.
Sriracha. Okay. All right. I'll go with that. I accept that.
Other people might say it different, but
Sriracha.
my way is the right way for
Sriracha.
me. You know what I mean?
I can dig that. Sriracha. Sri Lanka. We didn't toast.
Oh,
That's what I was waiting for.
I already took it.
I don't ever drink. So, cheers to work at 5 in the morning. Mm-hmm.
5 in the morning
Mm-hmm.
for you. I'll be up like
11, 12, 1.
no, I'll probably be up at 6 or 7.
Are you working tomorrow?
Well, I just wake up early every morning now. I try to at least.
So you're changing your lifestyle, changing your...
Well, I was working up early anyway for work, you know. So then, like now,
What's the point in stopping?
well, that and I just get more accomplished.
Hell yeah.
My
You
day.
really do. I've noticed that
Even
too.
if I just am lazy the whole day, I still get more accomplished.
Yeah, because you can space your laziness out. Like, you don't feel so overwhelmed. Like, damn, I woke up at 12. I still have to do laundry. I got to go to the store. I got to do this. Next thing you know, it's 5, 6, 7. And where'd the day go?
And all I did is make a list of things I had to do.
Exactly. That's so true. Perspective. Yes. Amen to that. Yeah, they say that early risers are more successful in life. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Just because of the way I feel when I wake up early.
Yeah?
I mean, I don't like waking up early. But once I have woken up, get more done. Hustle and bustle, work out in the morning on top of that. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like to act like I work out, but I don't really work out.
What do you mean act like you work out?
Like, you know, I just like, yeah, you know, I'm all, you know, I just feel like
Yeah.
people would think that I work out, you know, if they see me, they're like, yeah, that guy, he's not fat or nothing, he must like work out or something, you know? Like, nah, you know?
Doesn't have a good metabolism. He just works out
Yeah,
all
if
the
like
time.
people
Just kills
talk
it in the
about
gym.
working out and stuff, I'm like, yeah, for sure. And I used to work out, so I'm like real knowledgeable with the things I'm supposed to say. So I'm like, hell yeah, you know, like, oh yeah, for sure, you can deadlift what? Oh yeah, I remember I was deadlifting. We just don't talk about how long ago that was.
Put a date on that and then be like, yo, so I'm talking about today. And
Oh,
you're like,
yeah,
no, I'm talking about like 7 years ago. I wasn't talking about
like
anytime soon.
15 when I was playing football in high school.
Oh, shit.
That was really the last time I lifted weights seriously. Was when I played football.
I mean, is it necessary?
To lift weights?
And if you have an active job, say, to like, you know, keep your muscle mass, whatever,
I don't think lifting
maintained.
weights is ever necessary, unless you're like, you know, trying to be stronger for some specific reason. Like
Or if you're
sports.
supplementing.
But really, if you're just kind of trying to work out and stay healthy, in my opinion, it's better just to kind of not lift weights. Probably just do all body weight things like
Yeah,
push-ups
resistance.
and squats and stuff. And then really, I think the biggest thing is cardio. You got to run. You have to run. Nobody
Yeah.
likes running. They don't think, but that's it. I mean, that's.
It's always the things that you don't like to do that get you the most fit. I hate burpees. Hate them. And I avoid them every time I start working out. But once I start
Burpees are
doing
really
them,
hard, yeah.
they suck. It's such high impact. And like I get so winded by like the third or fourth one.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm about to do 15. 15? Get me out of here.
That's how many we did in 95 degrees, remember? 15.
Those are bad. But they were good. That felt really good.
Yeah.
I want one of those days again. Random workouts. So for a guy who hasn't worked out in a long time, I mean, you did pretty good.
I mean, I feel like I can still do things, but I'm not like. I used to be really strong, you know, because I used to work out, like lift weights a lot, you know. And now I'm like,
Because you had to.
So like, if I try to do something that previously I could have done, you know, like easily, it sometimes surprises me. Like, yo, I'm like weak, you know. I feel weak.
You're just like, damn. I could just see me like, nah, I'm gonna just put this back down.
Well, no, it's more like I don't know, because most of the time, even now, I mean, I can definitely move stuff that most people can't, because I'm really big, you know. But I also used to be really big and really strong, you know. So like, it was like, wow, I could like lift crazy things up and do you know, just I don't know, stuff that was superhuman, it would seem, but you know, it would just be nothing. And now when I try to do said things, I'm disappointed.
So what you're telling me is I'm speaking to a former superhuman being.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
That's currently in my presence right now.
That's right.
At this present moment.
I was
in my
faster and
presence.
Stronger than most people. That's right.
Superhuman.
Than like
Robert.
a large percentage of people. NFL players are probably the only people stronger. And like professional lifter. You know, like the pros.
Oh, yeah, like...
Those are real superhumans.
I think of Michael Phelps for some reason. I don't know.
I think it's really important to note that he smokes weed.
Yeah, so I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And another crazy thing about Michael Phelps, he's from the shithole of Baltimore.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you know him?
No, I did not.
I just want to note that he's 7 and he does not smoke weed. That's just his personality.
Hey.
See, that's what I try to get back to.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get back to right there.
I feel it. Children. Oh yeah, so you were talking about, speaking of takeout, eating out a lot, and you experienced something that you wanted to discuss in this discussion.
It's mind-blowing to me that I keep coming to these carry-out places, and they all have this line on the receipt for a tip as if they've done something.
And it's not just the line, right? It's the way they look at you.
And the way they look at you, and it's just like the expectation. I'm like, what the hell, dude? What am I tipping you for? Like, handing me my food? Like, you haven't provided me any service. So, in the past, I mean, think about it. Like, even when you're at a restaurant, you're like, yo, this chick, she's not going to get the full 20. She's going to get like 10% because she only checked my drink once. He didn't check my drink at all. He didn't even, there was no drink. He just handed me my
drink
food.
involved.
Yeah, there was nothing involved.
He put the food in the bag for you.
Right.
And he like spun it and then tied it on top. And
Right.
then
and that's
transaction.
It's not tip worthy, and so it like almost enrages me at times to see just the whole tip
the
line.
expectation.
Yeah, because there's plenty of carry out places that I go to, especially on the East Coast. Like if you go there for carry out, there is no tip line. You pay, and that's it. Like they don't even give you a receipt most of the time. You just pay, and then that's that. Because they don't expect a tip. But these places are, let me print out this receipt. And especially during COVID, when we're not supposed to be touching a bunch of stuff. So they're like, let me go out of the way to print out this receipt so you can write zeros on it. And then look at you crazy. I'm like, bro, what the fuck am I tipping you for? You know what I mean? Like, why would I give you a tip?
Yeah.
I don't care if it's 20 cents. And then the thing that really pissed me off the other day, I went to this place to get pizza. And it was the same deal. Carry out. And I'm looking at the thing. But I'm like, I got like... wizarded into it, I put $1 on there, and then as I was walking out, I heard the dude say something to the chick, like, and then look at this, like, as if I gave him, like, a small tip or something. I had to go back in there and explain to this guy that I shouldn't even have tipped him. And then, like, I don't know, kind of felt like an asshole a little bit afterwards. But
what was his reaction?
He knew that I heard him say something, so he was kind of on the defensive, and he was basically like, I feel like the delivery drivers got it good because they get paid twice. I'm like, yeah, dude, they do a lot more work than you. That's why. You know what I mean? It's like, you sit here and collect the money that people give you. He's not even cooking anything. He's literally the cashier expecting a fucking tip. You know what I mean? And I'm just like,
tip my personality.
Right. And your personality wasn't even that good. You know what I mean? Like, it was terrible. So... and that was at 24th Street Pizza in Euros right over here. And they have some of my favorite pizza. Although I'm pretty sure that's what gave me that heartburn. Because that was what I ate directly before.
All that sauce.
Yeah. But it's like my favorite pizza in the area. It's like so...
Is it like sweet sauce?
No, it's just like New York style kind of. Like
I'll have to try it.
It's the cheese, I think. They actually use the cheese that I want. Like it's... you just have to try it. I can't even like... put my finger on the difference, really. But I know when I get pizza from there, I'm much happier. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want.
Better than the $5 Caesars.
Well, the Caesars $5 pizzas go a long way.
It is pretty smash.
They go a long way for $5.
Hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I won't put down the Little Caesars at all. For a long time, I didn't really know about Little Caesars because my mom... I don't know why she never, like, turned to Little Caesars, She was never like, yeah, let's just go to Little Caesars. She was always just like, no, we're staying away from that. And then we get, like, Papa Murphy's or something. Is there Papa Murphy's here? Do you know what Papa Murphy's is?
I feel like I've heard of Papa Murphy's, but I don't know if it was here or back home.
Do you know what it is?
Pizza place.
Okay, so Papa Murphy's. It's this magical place, yo. You go there, and, like, you choose what you want on your pizza, and they put it all on the pizza for you, and they wrap it up, and you take it home and bake it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, we don't have that. I don't think
dope,
in
yo.
Cleveland. No.
It's dope. We got in Colorado for sure.
That's interesting.
Papa Murphy's.
Is it expensive?
No, it's cheaper. It's like, you get like a jar. You get a pizza like this big. It's literally the size of your table for like $12 probably.
Because you do all the manual labor. So should you tip yourself at that point? Because we're speaking of all this tipping stuff that's going on,
Incidentally, as I sit here and think about it, even the people that are putting all these ingredients on there and doing all this work and making it look aesthetically pleasing, there's not a tip line, I don't believe, on their receipts.
Yeah, because they get paid a wage.
Right.
Because that's in their job description. It's what they do.
Right.
Yeah, this whole tip business is weird. I think the tip business is weird, period, because they should just get paid enough. You know what I mean?
But then lots of restaurants would never get off the ground, I think, is the idea behind it.
Yeah.
Because,
touché.
I mean, if you...
I'm into the business side of it, so do explain your perspective.
Well, I mean, if you had to pay if you had to pay the actual minimum wage, because I think waiters and waitresses, since they're classified as like getting tips, the minimum wage for them is much lower. It's like,
oh yeah, dude.
Instead of whatever it is, it's like $4 or something.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably good for especially like a brand new restaurant that's starting and nobody's coming in, so they're not making any money. So if they had to pay that person the full minimum wage for all those hours, then, I mean, that still is that person's livelihood we're talking about.
Right.
So, I mean, who's more important, the restaurant or the worker?
That's true. Can't do the restaurant without the worker.
Yeah.
So, where's your incentive there?
The worker can always go find another job. Well, let's not say always, but most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah. I feel like not everybody stays at Applebee's, you know what I mean? Till they're 35, hopefully.
I don't know.
I mean, hey, if that's your jam, go for it.
I have some friends that are still working
I've considered it.
some fairly meaningless jobs.
Would you say that they're doing well in those quote-unquote meaningless jobs?
I don't know.
I don't
It's hard
know.
to say, It's like I was just talking to my friend the other day, and she was like, she works at like, I don't want to say it, maybe she'll hear this and go mad, but like, she works like a pizza delivery place, I don't know what she does there or anything, but I remember, and it was so weird because like she was telling me, she was like, yeah, I went back there and da-da-da-da. I'm like, yo, I used to work there. I remember I got fired for not folding boxes, and like, she didn't say anything back to me after that at all. Like,
what?
At all.
Conflict
It was
of
like
interest or what?
Like put her down. It's like I don't know. I didn't want to. Now I'm like trying to read back through. Like, did I write it in such a way that I put her down, or like I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just like, damn.
Well, was it in a text message or was this
in a text message? Yeah.
I mean, I can see where maybe that could be like, oh, he's being a smartass.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's saying all I do is fold boxes for a living, asshole.
Well, no, I just distinctly remember that I used to work there, right? And I was chilling, and all right, so I didn't work for the place, but they had like during the rush hours, they had this. We were the A team. We came in to just do deliveries, and they told us there's like it's in your job description, you don't do nothing else but deliveries, right? And so I got over it, I was like, hell yeah, sweet. And the manager's like, yo, go in the back and fold boxes. I'm like, dog, now you understand. They told me not to do anything but deliveries. They told me if you asked me to do anything else, to say no. And I did, So I'm like, yeah, fuck all that. I'm not doing nothing else but deliveries. So, like, he's like, oh, yeah, well, that's not going to work for me. I'm like, whatever, now, fuck you. And then that was my last day there, but...
And then that's the end of that story.
That's the end of that story.
That's where that ended.
But,
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Maybe you just needed to have the conversation in person so she could see that you're not genuinely being like, kind of like, I remember when I had my first beer, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe it was that connotation in her mind. I don't know. But if a person's insecure
But then on
about
top of it, though, I think it actually has more to do with her own, like, perception of herself at that moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if that's how she feels about herself, she already feels down about it, she's going to take offense to it because she's already thinking like, oh, I had the shittiest job ever.
Yeah.
And he totally knows it.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, you make your own reality, dude. You can totally go out and like, this is what I've never understood about people.
Shitty, though, but yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's not. You can be happy off of anything. You know what I mean? You could be self-sustainable off of any kind of job as long as you hustle it the right way, stack your paper the right way, do what you got to do. But you also have to work towards like an end goal. Like you have to have benefits. Like you have to have shit like that. You know what I mean? But then I also realize there's state coverage, there's all this stuff. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like you have to have those things. So while I'm not putting anybody down who works jobs like that, I'm so frustrated at the people who are like in that position, yet they complain about it. And it's like they come to you to be like, give me some ideas. And I'm like, hey, FedEx, you know, why not? And they're like, oh, no. Why? For what?
Really
What are you
steady
gonna
work,
do?
super steady benefits. You know, I worked for UPS for
You know
like
what I mean?
2 years.
It's
you know?
not a bad gig. Do I want to do it forever? Probably not. But I mean,
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't mind getting my benefits and my 401k continually by working there.
Yeah. And then after a while, you can just like cut back your time and still get the benefits, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hell yeah, I get full benefits and I work here like 3, I don't know, days a month or something.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know how
but-
much, I don't know how to really finagle the system. But I don't know, in the end, I mean, obviously I have a different focus. I'm like a business owner now and that's all I care about. I'm like, yo, my business is going to succeed or I'm a failure. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
really all it
Because
comes
when
down
you
to.
invested your time and your money into it, it's kind
Yeah.
of a big deal. So, yeah.
I'm just like, that's all it is. So if I do have to go work back for somebody else, I might feel a little sad about it. But I mean, still, the end goal is always the same: to have my own company and to provide benefits and stuff for my employees and stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like, you have to.
But that means I have to get like 15 employees, 14 other employees before I can start really offering reasonable coverage. You know?
Yeah. And just get yourself off the ground, like the restaurant business people. You know? You don't want to pay them $3, but.
Well, no, I mean, I have to pay these guys a premium.
Yeah.
They're like the best guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I'm like, damn. Dog.
I think that's probably the hardest thing is to get other people to work for you. That's why I don't want anything to do with owning a business. I don't want to do anything with management at another
It's
company.
really easy, actually. 'Cause in
Maybe
the
for
end-
you. Maybe you have the personality for it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, most people are lost. I've been lost a long time. I don't even know if I'm found, but like most people are lost. They have no idea. They have no clue. They have no reasonable expectation for their future besides, oh, if I just keep doing what I'm doing, you know. They really don't have a plan. Like most people don't have any 5-year plan, no 1-year plan, no anything. They might have these ideas
I'm one of
and
those
goals
people.
or whatever, but like, and that's fine. I'm not saying there's anything
Well-
wrong with that. I'm just saying those are the type of people that are workers. You know, those are the type of people that can't see. You have to see the future to want to be able
But
to
the-
build it. You know, you
So
have
what
to
do you think
envision
about
it first.
this?
That's the first step in my mind, at least, is envisioning it.
What do you think about this? If everybody had that visionary gift, I guess, or that inclination to be a visionary, would there be any workers? Because everybody would be out here trying to make their own business.
That's exactly how it
mind.
was back before everything got overregulated and all, you know, super saturated with other businesses. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when we first came here to America, yeah, everybody was a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
You owned your own ranch. You did your own thing.
Right.
Every single person,
Which would be so dope.
did
man.
whatever they did. And you're right, they ran out of workers. So guess what they did? They turned to slavery. So I mean that's
Oh,
pretty much what happened.
that's interesting. You do read a lot of history, don't you? So I kind of trust your word better. But that makes sense.
Well, I'm not like a history buff. I don't know if that's exactly what happened, but that's in my mind. I'm like, yeah, that's what happened.
To have a theory on what happened, I mean, realistically, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, everybody came
Taking
over
all the
here
natives.
ready to take over the West. I mean, they probably figured out that they couldn't enslave the natives because the natives were in their native land. We're just gonna fight you, dude. Like,
Right,
nah.
right.
Like, all it would really take is because really, in the end, one of the most frustrating, I think, facets of slavery to me is the fact that we could have rose up at any time. And
That's
just, like,
what,
said
yeah.
no.
I
You
think
know,
about
like,
that.
You know what I mean?
I think about that a lot because, I mean,
There's like
How many
there's like
of you
six
are there?
guys with a musket, so they literally have like 6 shots.
but
You know
think
what I
about
mean?
think about the like their primitive minds. You know what I mean? Like they've never seen firepower before or anything like that. I mean, like I don't know. I'm thinking, I don't know, from like a primitive mindset. Like they're just like, what the hell is that? They saw a white man for the first time. They're like, what is this? Seeing a gun for the first time. What is that? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. And it's crazy because we will literally never know unless we have a time machine that can go back and physically see ourselves, which would be super dope. And I would be so game for that. I would love to see how that went down. Or not. Maybe it would suck. But, I mean, it'd be interesting. Because we really just don't know. We could just speculate on everything that happened before us.
Well, yeah, and that's, I mean, history was written by the winners.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what our history really is? I tend to discount more of what I hear.
Because more of what you hear is what they want you to hear. What you hear is the publicized version of the historical events that took place. How's your gyro?
Pretty fire. You want to bite or something?
No, I'm just wondering.
It's pretty fire.
Yeah.
It's from Spartan Gyro.
Spartan. This is Sparta. I've never seen that movie. I don't know why I know that.
What?
300, right?
Yeah. I've even never seen it.
Because, like, I sit down and watch a movie, or begin to watch a movie, and then the next thing you know, I just get bored as shit, and then I just get up and go. Yeah. I can't concentrate. So it'd be like that sometimes. I wanted to ask you. So you grew up with a white mom, right? Mm-hmm. I've always been wondering about this. Like, I swear that I'm not just stuck on this race thing, but I just find it interesting because we're both mixed. But
that's what she says.
That's what I say. But lucky you can tell. So you said that your mom never let you listen to like rap music and stuff, and that was really like how did that go down? Like how as a black child, because you was straight up black.
Yeah.
I mean, how did that go down? Like what happened?
I was light skinned back then.
Yeah, but you can tell.
Yeah, I was definitely black for sure.
Yeah. Like, what was that like? Did you grow up in a white community?
Pretty much, yeah. So like, my mom's white. My stepdad is also white. Before my mom married my stepdad, it was me and my mom, and like, you know, she'd have random boyfriends. Not like a bunch of. I just remember. You know,
I was about to say, don't make your mama sound like that.
No.
Like she's running the streets.
No. I think like really, I only remember one or two before my stepdad. So. And it wasn't like she was out in the streets doing all that. It's not what I'm saying. But, like, you know, it was just me and my mom. And so, like, yeah, they were all white, though. So it was all white guys. You know, my stepdad's probably definitely the best out of all of them, for sure, you know.
Hopefully, since he's the one that stuck around, man.
Yeah, well, and then, of course, I was a child, so I don't know. You know what I mean? I was
you only know what you know, yeah.
He was cool. He took me to Comic-Cons a lot. You know?
That's pretty dope. I mean, at least he did stuff with you.
It was fun. Yeah, we had a good time. Yeah, so basically what ended up happening was, I mean, especially when I go to visit my dad, who's black, you know, and he lived in D.C., where all the black people are. So, like, when I go to visit there, it was, like, pretty,
Did you feel isolated?
Tough. Yeah, it was hard to deal with, you know, like, I didn't know any of the culture, the music, or anything like that, and they're like asking me what kind of music I listen to, and I'm trying to tell them it's like the Indigo Girls and the Cranberries and Dave Matthews Band, and they're like, nah, nigga, we listen to Mace over here. I'm like, who the fuck is Mace? I'm like, oh, I know who Pete Puff Daddy is, though. They're like, yeah, Mace is with Puff Daddy, and you know, it's just like, you know, kids are pretty mean sometimes, so they would just like make fun of me a lot, you know, and so I kind of graduated from there. So, I mean, obviously I wanted to hear this music that I was being made fun of for not knowing.
Naturally.
I'm like, yo.
Because you don't want to get made fun of anymore, so you're going to counteract and then do exactly what they're making fun of you for. Yeah. The opposite of it.
Right, so I'm like searching. I'm in search of this music as if it's like the Holy Grail, you know? It's like, I just need to hear it.
I just want to fit
and my mom, by trying to hide it or protect it from it, almost made it like that, made it more like this enticing. Holy thing, like, yo, I mean, there's a reason why they don't want me to see this. Done. It's not because it's fake, it's because it's real, you know.
And then suddenly Robert turned to the streets.
Well, yeah, pretty much. So I mean, it all started. I mean, really, there's one point in my life I can really like pinpoint as to when I started like fucking up for real. And so I was in like the International Baccalaureate Magnet or some shit like that in 6th grade, and so I went and I wrote this essay for English class, and that's what they asked us to do, is write this essay. And at the time, I mean, growing up, I always read a bunch of Stephen King books, just because like that was what was on the shelves in my parents' house, and I got into I read Eyes of the Dragon when I was young, and then after that, I just like went after a bunch of Stephen King books, and then so yeah, at the time I was reading a bunch of Stephen King books. I don't remember what specific book I was reading at the time. I feel like it was the Tommyknockers, but I might be wrong about that. But it's really neither here nor there. I was also playing, you know, Tomb Raider, which is like this Lara Croft.
I know what that is.
So you know what Tomb Raider is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote this essay it was supposed to be a scary story. It was about her going to this island of cannibal monkeys that like...
You did tell me about this. Continue.
Yeah. And so like she went to this island of cannibal monkeys and she was there to retrieve this relic. And of course the monkeys didn't want to let her get out without eating her. So she had to kill a bunch of monkeys and like get away. And she did. It was pretty dope. It's a nice little story. It's supposed to be scary. Scared my teacher enough to where she was like, I don't want him in my classroom anymore. So after lunch, every day after lunch, instead of going to English class with all the other IBM kids, you know, all those smart kids, I instead literally went to detention, basically, where all like the special ed kids and like the bad kids are at. And that's where I found out that, you know, me and this kid, we kind of like clinked up, we're kind of friends, we're like, hell yeah, and then we're like, yo, let's walk home, you know, we walked home
and he's
together.
the dumb kid who knows the street stuff, huh?
Well, he's not even dumb, he was just he's a troublemaker, yeah, troublemaker. And so, but anyway, we just clicked up, and we're walking home one day, and we figured out we lived a block away from each other, like literally one block. He lived on Sebring, I lived on Syracuse. It was like one block. I mean, these are suburban Denver blocks, but one block, you know? So, yeah, we were like best friends ever since then, but that's really where, I think that's where stuff's really started going downhill for me, because that's when I just decided not to, like, there's no reward, you know, like, for trying hard. Because I tried hard on that essay. I really wanted to do good, and I did a good job. She was scared. She was supposed to be scared. It was just fucking, I was trying to be like Stephen King, you know what I mean? So, like, I think I did a good job. It was a couple years after Columbine as well. So, I mean, you got to kind of take that into account.
Oh, so people are still scared. Okay.
So, what ended up happening is me andCio, while all the other kids were doing practice after school, we would go into the locker rooms and we would steal their CDs and CD players and all that. And that's how I started getting, you know, some CDs. That was my first real come up on black music, my culture. That was my first real cultural thing. Was we'd go and, you know, a lot of people had locks on their lockers, but a lot of people didn't. You know?
But guess what? A lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
And I got that
and they
shit,
just left
man.
their stuff in there like it was all good. And no, it wasn't all good. Me and Savash were coming through.
Oh my gosh. Boys, man.
So yeah, that was one time. And then after that, I mean, I still wanted more music. You know, I needed more music. So I forgot at the time what happened. Oh, and slightly before this, I got some birthday money, right? I'll never forget this, y'all. So unfair. So I got some birthday money. And you remember CDs used to be like $14 or something,
yes.
Right? And I had like $20. I was like, hell yeah, sweet, I'm going to buy
One
this
whole
CD because that's what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom's like, all right, well, you got to get the edited version. And I'm like, it's bullshit, but whatever, you know. Yes, but whatever, you know, I get the edited version, and it was a Chronic 2001, Dr. Dre. I was so excited, like, hell yeah, I'm gonna be so cool. I know all the lyrics like everybody else. It's gonna be so cool. And then, like, you know, and my mom, so we take it home from the store, and my mom's like doing some remodeling on the kitchen or something with my stepdad. They literally put this shit on like full blast, played the whole CD, and we're like, nah, you can't listen to this. It made me take it back. For you didn't get your $14 back, right? So I got like $6 back or something, and they're like, "Yeah, that's fair." So like, yeah, I was like really upset by that.
All right. Back to the discussion. What were we talking about? Oh, you and your homie stealing CDs. You entering the street life because out of spite of. Not being able to express your
So
culture.
so what I was saying is my mom, they didn't even give me back all of my money, you know, for the CDs. I was just really upset by that, and I don't know, I learned the wrong lesson from that, I guess. I was just like, I guess I can only get these illegally, you know, or something. Like there's no legal, I can't pay for them because my mom won't let me, so I gotta steal them because that's the only way I can get them. So that's when I started stealing them with my boy out of the place. And then after that, I mean, we did that a few times, but I mean, after a while, I mean, obviously the kids got wise. You know?
Right. They're like, what's going on now?
And then we also got scared. Like, we couldn't just do that every day. You know, we had to like go in like every other week. You know, it just was not super dope. And then, so me and Theo were friends. We ended up getting caught skipping together. We skipped school. This is like 6th grade, so like pretty early.
Dang.
So what we did, we had a pretty solid plan for getting the fuck out of there. So we had there was this wood shop, and the door from the wood shop was like the only one that in the school that like went directly to the street. Everything else like went to the field or went to the parking lot or went to the front of the school. But this is the only one that was like on the side that was unlocked, at least for our use. So we just like dipped out of there with these two like Indian guys. One of them's name was Robert, like me, and the other guy's name was Renee. Yeah, they're both Indians. Well, Native Americans, I should say. And so we just dipped out, and then so somebody obviously called the cops on us because the truancy police came, and we started running. So we all were running, we're all jumping fences and stuff, and then they caught us. And then we're like, oh dang! And so Seal, or the homie, comes up with this like story about how like the Indian cat like threatened him to leave with a knife. He's like, oh yeah, man, he made us leave, and I was just like, yeah, whatever he said.
That is some cold stuff. Y'all are dirty.
So they suspended us for like a day or two, but my mom decided, she was like, yeah, I'm just gonna take you and put you in like it was like an alternative school, it was like a charter school, so it was supposed to be, I'm sure she read the thing and it sounded dope, hell yeah, they do all this, and she thought it was like, like a private school or something, but it was a public school that was private, she's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be this dope ass charter school.
It's a bunch of bad kids.
So I get down there, yeah, it's a fucking
uniforms.
Expulsion school. No uniforms, but it's an expulsion school. Yeah, it's an expulsion school. It is an alternative, and it does have some great concepts. I wish I would have took advantage of it, but like, yeah.
You're far too gone.
Yeah, not at that point. At that point, I was trying to figure out how to be as black as possible. And in my mind, at that point, for whatever reason, especially with the kids that I was surrounded by, being as black as possible meant being like a gang member, basically, like, just a straight up street thug. So I must have been like 12 or 13, I was pretty young, but I was huge, I'm 6'6" now. I was probably like 6'2" then. So, and I weighed more back then.
In what grade?
In 6th grade.
No way.
Yeah, I was probably like
6'2" in 6th grade, bro.
Maybe 6 foot, but still, I was a grown man's height.
How old are you in 6th grade?
I weighed like 260 pounds. I weighed more back then than I did now.
How old are you in 6th grade?
I don't know.
What age is that? Okay, so Bentley's 7 and he's in 2nd, so 7, 8. Okay, 2, 3. Okay, I guess. Okay, 11. Okay, yeah. All right. Sorry, I digress.
Something like that. I mean, I was young, so like I went. That was the second semester of 6th grade is when I started going there. I think I ended up going there for like 2.5 years or something, maybe just a year and a half. But yeah. So I mean, that was the first time I ever smoked. Well, no, that's not true. The first time I ever smoked was with Theo, and I remember because he had this little gas-powered GoPed, and so like, just gotta imagine we're just two kids, and he's like small. He's like a short, small little like Iranian cat, and fucking. He was like, he'd stand in front of me on the GoPed and I'd stand behind him, and then like I'd steer while he did the gas and brake. So we just go everywhere on this thing, like everywhere, like as if we had a car, or like these little 11, 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
They're like 11, 12-year-olds just doing whatever it took. And we went over to this dude's house, and I just remember he had this crazy looking pit bull, with like this broken tail. And he's like, oh yeah, my pit bull's really mean, and he put him around my back. And then they're like, yo, you know how to roll a blunt, right? You're black. And I'm like, nah, dog, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm black in training, what?
Mike's like, oh, it's all good, man. I'll roll a white boy or whatever. So he rolled up like a white paper. And then we smoked it, and I got like, that was the first time I got high. It was so blazed. It's like, wow. And so I just remember trying to drop Visine in my eyes, and that was also, I think, the first time I ever tried to do anything like that, put something in my eye like Visine.
Because you were such an adolescent.
Yeah, I'm like, and I never
so many firsts right now.
Yeah, just
I can't.
Like, way too much going on. I'm just like, so much remember being in the mirror, like, did I get it in there? Is it in?
Dude, you're probably such a funny person at that age, especially in that moment, literally not knowing what to really do.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
But then, so after that, we wrote, we're on the GoPed, going back home, because we lived a block away from each other, so we we get all the way down there, and then I get home, and I go inside, And, you know, it's like standard, you know, first time you smoke, you say hi to your parents as you walk by them to go downstairs and, like, completely avoid all conversation. I'm just like, hi, Mom, I'm sleepy, bye. You know, so, so I went downstairs and I just passed out for, like, I don't even know, like, an hour or two. But I was still super doped when my mom woke me up and was like, yo, we're going to go have dinner with your grandparents right now. So, yeah. So then I get over there and I'm like, I just remember trying not to eat too fast because I didn't want them to think I had the munchies. So I was like, yo, I'm just going to, like, eat real nice and slow. I remember distinctly, like, yo, as long as I eat slow, they won't know. You know? And so I ended up, I think I went and spent the night at my grandparents' house that night. So it was like, wow. So anyway, yeah, after that was before I went to the expulsion school. So I went to the expulsion school, and stuff just really, you know, changed for your boy. That was when I, like, saw other people smoking weed a bunch, and I started smoking weed a bunch, and, like, smoking Newports for the first time, and all this other stuff. I'm like, hell yeah. And then we're, like, in my expulsion school was, like, in the middle of downtown Denver. Like, so there's downtown Denver, and we're probably, like, 8 blocks away. So, like, you know what I mean?
Perfect spot. It's like they want you to try to skip and do some dumb stuff.
Right, so, like, if you walk, you can go to City Park and just see all the homeless people chilling, all the drug dealers over at Colfax and Broadway doing this and that, you know, everything just... You could walk up and down the 16th Street Mall, you know, if you skip school, you could just have a grand old day, you know what I mean? Like, especially
I'm sure you've had plenty.
Yeah, especially if you've never seen any of these things, you know, like, everything is just, like, so brand new and bright and shiny. Like, even these homeless people look bright and shiny. Like, tell me more about yourself, sir. You know what I mean?
Oh, my God.
So anyway, yeah, so I'm out there doing all that, and that was when I actually caught my first charge. And that was when, so I had this great system. It was ingenious, really, and it worked for a long time. The only time, the time I got caught was the first time I brought somebody else with me. So
the CD thing.
Yeah, the CD thing was ingenious. So I, like, had my coat, and I'm tall, you know, so, like, and I had a huge afro. It was, like, this long, you know. So like, I was just, like, walk out of the, so I'd put all of the CDs or whatever I wanted to steal that had a security thing on it that would make the security thing go off. I'd put it, like, right near my wrists, in my coat though, inside the coat near my wrists, and it would just kind of sit in there. Of course, it'd make a little weird bulge or whatever, but I mean, whatever. As a big puffy, like, remember the coats back in the 90s and early 2000s? It was like
in Denver, I can only imagine.
Big poofy coats.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm walking out, just picking my hair every single time, and it just worked. You know, if I had both wrists, I'd be, you know, messing with it a little bit and, you know, picking it, and I just walk out, and the security, and the things never went off and nothing. And then I brought this little fucking fake. He acted like such a gangster. This little Northsider kid named Donovan. I just remember all the time he would just act so hard. He's, like, so gangster. And then, like, when it came down to anything, he would just be like, if anybody wanted to throw bodies or something, he'd be like, oh, no, I can't do that. My lungs are crystallized from smoking too many Newports. I'm like, dog, you're like fucking 12 years old. How are your lungs crystallized from smoking too many Newports? I know grown-ass men in prison that smoked, like, millions more Newports than you that go bodies, you know? Like, that's what I think now, but at the time, I was just like, oh,
I guess.
okay. You know, because we're all, like, really young. Of course, there's some of the older cats there, because this was, like, it was 6th through 12th grade. So there's, like, it wasn't just, like, middle school. It wasn't 6 through 9 where it's just me and, like, or 6 through 8th where it's just, like, me and, like, these other kids. It's, like, me and these fucking 12th graders. Me and these kids that are, like, they're not even kids anymore. They're, like, 18, 19. They were supposed to have graduated, like, 3 years ago, but they came back to this school because it's the only school that I have them, you know? So these are, like, I think the oldest you could be was 20 or something there. Like, once you turn 20.
20? Like, yeah. 20-year-old in high school? What are you doing?
And I think that was the oldest you could. They had a cutoff, but it was above 18.
Oh my!
And then they had, like, night school. So night school started, like, right after day school. So these dudes were showing up, like, as we're getting off, you know, or, like, if you hung around the school for a little bit after school, you'd see all these night school people coming in, and you could talk to them, and you know, and you probably know them. And so, yeah, people know them from your school, and you know them. So it's like, you just, you know, it's just this whole thing. Everybody knew each other. It was a little school, but, like, everybody knew each other to some degree. You know, whether you liked them or not, like, you knew pretty much everybody by face. Like, I know him. He's the one who hangs out with them and da-da-da-da and whatever. So, I forgot where the hell I was going with that, but...
Donovan.
Oh, yeah, Donovan. And so yeah, he just went with me one day, and that's when we got caught. That's when we got caught. Dude. We walked out of the front door, and there's this guy sitting outside. He was just like waiting for us. I remember he had glasses on. He was like, "Hey man, why don't you just give me all that shit you just stole from inside there?" I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He was like, "Yeah man, just give me all that shit." And I just kept lying like, "Nah, I don't have nothing." He's like, "All right, well, fuck that. Come inside with me." And then we just started running. And his little fat ass couldn't make it. He was like, "Hey, just wait. They're just gonna give us a." So I should have just ran off, but I didn't. And like.
You didn't want to leave the homie. Oh.
Right. I didn't run off when I should have. And so yeah, I got, shoplifting. I was a juvenile. It wasn't a big deal. They put me through a diversion program, which is basically like probation, and then they dropped off. And then after that, it wasn't like I stopped stealing CDs. I was banned from Virgin Megastore, so I couldn't go back there. Or the Denver Pavilions until 2099. They banned me. Yeah, until 2099.
What they hope to be your life.
Right, it was a life change. Like, I can never come back to the Pavilions for stealing these CDs, you little 12-year-old, So like it was.
Year 3000, Robert returns.
It was pretty bad, and so I mean. Later on in life, I actually did go back to the Pavilions, and I was like standing on, like I wasn't even in a store. I was like standing on this walkway, and they came and got me. They came and got me, yo. But they were like, yeah, so I feel like they were really harsh with you. I don't know why they were so harsh with you. You were like 12 years old when it happened. So like, because this was like years later, and they still got me, So this is like, so we're just gonna like, we're gonna rescind this ban till, you turn 18. So now I'm allowed to go back, thank God. Because Pavilions is pretty dope, It's like one of the doper parts of downtown, Denver. So anyway, I didn't stop stealing CDs then. I just graduated. I went to Tower, this place is by the Cherry Creek Mall in Denver. Tower Records, or it was, I don't know if it's still there. And I just graduated. I figured out a whole different scheme. I just brought a razor blade with me. I used to slit the CDs open and just take just the CD without the case, Way better, because I didn't have to worry about no security devices or anything. Just slit it out, pop it out, my CD. And I did that for a long, long time and never got caught. And that's really the end of the whole CD.
Genius.
It's pretty much the end of the whole CD stealing.
Won't do any good now.
That's good page. Yeah.
Wow.
Also considering I forgot how, but all of those CDs got like stolen or lost or something.
So what you stole got stolen. Whoa.
Or lost or something, yeah.
The whole story behind all this or the whole lesson behind all this is, the more that you try to divert somebody from doing something, don't do this, don't do that, the more they are drawn to it. I
don't know.
That psychology is pretty.
I mean, that is definitely part of it, but I think it's more.
It's an identity thing too. It's
and belonging.
You.
I mean, I really didn't.
Belonging.
I never belonged. Even now, like I don't belong in any particular group. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's okay now when you're an adult, yeah, it's
right?
Fine,
but when you're a kid and you're having a total identity crisis, and kids are mean as shit. Kids are mean.
They're the worst.
And I feel like that's a part of life, maybe, I don't know, but just be able to be yourself. But when you feel like that's a really big part of who you are, especially physically, because you're like, I look like these kids.
Yeah.
So I want to be a little bit like them.
Well, I want them to at least like accept me.
But just be accepting of you.
Just to not fit in anywhere. Like you don't fit in with the white kids. You don't fit in with the black kids. I ended up actually hanging out with a bunch of Mexicans. I remember back then, like a bunch of like Latinos and stuff. But like, and some black kids or whatever. But then I ended up like joining a gang and doing all this other stupid shit. But like, yeah, it was just like.
Do you think that all that would have happened?
Of belonging, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think that would have happened if you would have just been able to listen to rap music?
I don't know, but I do feel like I would have been less susceptible to that happening,
because you wouldn't have been trying so hard to portray the theatrical whatever was going on in all the rap music videos and all that stuff.
Yeah,
what you were being marketed to as this is black, But if there's nobody, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, he's able to listen to it, so like that. Then there's that struggle, because as a mother, I see like the issue with it. But then again, I'm like bumping my music, and I don't edit myself, so I don't edit all of my music in front of Bentley. You know what I mean? I've started to. Just because he is getting older and he's exercising his free will a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to give him the bad example of like, oh yeah, well, my mom listens to it all the time, so it's cool, it's whatever. So I've been editing some things, but I mean, like, I don't want to totally take it away from him, because I want him to know what's out there. I don't want him to be like going out into the world and here he's in high school and he's so shocked, like, oh my gosh, rap music.
And
Oh
then-
my gosh. They said, what? You know what I mean? I don't want him to be that kid. But
And then, I mean, it's almost like you're drawn to what you don't know as a kid. I mean, as a kid, I just
Curiosity.
remember being so interested in just the widest range of things. Like, I just wanted to know more. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see what the world was like. And I grew up in a nice home, you know, like my stepdad and mom both had houses of their own. They sold their separate houses when they got married and bought this big old house, you know. So I lived in this big old house, and then I'm going down to these kids, and then like I'm going home with them sometimes, and like they're in the projects, you know what I'm saying? And I'm cool with that. Like, this is my favorite place to hang out right now. I don't even want to go home, you know what I mean? Like, and it was just kind of, I don't know, it was like a weird experience, you know.
it was different to you.
It was, and it wasn't a bad school. I mean, it was an expulsion school, basically. You know, I mean, that's what it was, basically. But it was, they had great ideas, and, you know, there was a
The whole
path
concept
to
of it was probably really well thought out, and
Right.
they meant well.
They meant well.
But
And
stuff
we did
happens
amazing
anywhere.
things. They took whole classes to Africa, whole classes to bunches of places, you know? So they've
That's
done,
pretty amazing.
yeah. So
There's
they've-
probably a lot. Do you talk to any of these people? Are you still in contact with any of them, like on social media, just to see like where they've come?
I mean, I think I think my old advisor, me and her follow each other. She was cool, but really the only people that I kept in contact with were, there's this one guy, and then the other one is one of my best friends, AJ. He's still in Denver. He has kids now. He's
Doing well
a
for
different
himself.
guy. Yeah. Well, I mean, me and AJ, we both used to go to school with like the intent, knowing like I have no money. The only way for me to go home is we gotta rob somebody, like, you know, to get the money, or, you know, beg or whatever. But like, yeah, most of the time it's just like, let's just glass somebody real quick. They don't have extra money, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh my gosh. I pray that this is not what I have to look forward to with my son. I'm like over here thinking like all these, because it just dawned on me one day, like, bro, I'm raising a man. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. You don't want to do it wrong, obviously, but how do you do it right? Is there a right way? I'm sure there's some things that are
One of my mom's
better
biggest
than others,
failings.
but-
So for a long time, she gave me like, you know, some lunch money or something every day, and she found out I was smoking weed, and she took that shit away. So what do you think I did after that? You know what I mean?
interesting.
What do you like? What
Where
do you
there's
think
a will, there's a way.
right. So what do you think you're gonna control my life like that? Especially like a young rebellious teenager. You really think taking the money away is gonna like solve the problem? That's gonna make it worse. Now I have to figure out a way to get this money. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, what do you think that she should have done in order to put a stop to it? Or is there a thing that she could have done to put a stop to it?
No, she tried everything. She should have just.
Let it happen and let it right out?
It was a phase. I got over it for sure. She would have just like let it happen. I feel like I'd probably be better off today.
That's really interesting.
I really wasn't out there on most days until the money became like the motivating factor. Like, damn, I gotta figure out like how I'm gonna pay for things as a 12-year-old. You know what I mean? I couldn't get a job because she wouldn't sign the papers so I could go work somewhere. You know,
What?
she wouldn't do it.
Shoot.
It was like she literally didn't want me to be independent. You know, and I was all about it, and that. It kind of crushed a little bit of my independent spirit. I feel it in life. Like, I remember just being so willful and just so about it.
And you
know
just
what I mean?
couldn't.
Yeah, I just couldn't do anything, you know, like, and then I ended up going to jail, and I really couldn't do anything, you know what I mean? And so it was just like, damn. I feel like if my mom made our house more of a haven,
Then.
like, because I remember, because she wouldn't want me smoking weed or whatever, and like, da-da-da-da-da. So basically, all I had to do was leave my house, go one block down. Seal's parents didn't give a fuck. And we could always go over there and do whatever we wanted. You know what I'm saying? We're over there, blazing up, doing whatever. Me and Seal are downstairs fucking stealing his parents' heroin or opium and
What?
shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Smoking
Oh
some
my
of that.
gosh.
Like, his dad came back from like a foreign country and like had like some pure-ass opium, and we just go down there and try it a couple times, you know? Just do whatever the fuck we wanted.
And see, if it was in a controlled environment at her house, that wouldn't have been there. And,
Well, right, you know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, maybe
That-
you would have been exposed to it still.
But I'm saying, like, even though, so we were at their house, and nothing, it was still a controlled environment. Where, I mean, we're at their house, I'm sure it wasn't as controlled as some people might have wanted it to be, but I was much safer being inside somebody's house in the suburbs versus being on the city streets with all like the most randomest motherfuckers you could ever imagine. You know what I mean? Like I'm literally out here on the street corners, you know, trying to like do this and that with like who knows who. And this guy could be a fucking, you know, who knows? He could be like a pedophile. And the only reason he hasn't fucked me is because I'm way too big. You know what I mean? I actually remember one time this dude got all high off crack and I was staying at his house and he fucking was trying to like do some sexy shit with me. I had to like fucking... And I was kind of scared of dude because he was my big homie. He was like the OG. You know, he had been in prison for a long time.
Oh yeah, a long time. Huh?
Yeah. Okay. So I was like, oh shit. So I like locked myself in his room and then I climbed out the window. Without him. Yeah. And then it was crazy. So that was like pretty much the last time I fucked with him. And then I saw him somewhere else, like, and he was trying to like come at me. He was like, "Hey man, like, what happened to all that crack?" And he had like somebody else who was probably the person he owed money to or whatever. Like, because we were supposed to be selling this shit, you know what I mean? So like, he just decided to smoke it all up. And I don't know what, you know, I have no idea. And so he like approached me with some other person like while I was downtown. He was like, "Hey man, what happened to all that crap, dude?" I'm like, "Dude, we just fucking smoked it all. Like, get off my face." And he's like, "Hey, shh, don't be saying that." And then that was like the last time I ever saw him.
Thank God.
Well, no, I saw him again way later, like years and years later at the bus stop again. Pretty much in, I don't think his life has changed. Well, he wasn't an actual, I don't know. If he was a crackhead, he was like a rich crackhead, you know, like.
So he just dabbled a little bit with his.
He had a wife and kids and all this other stuff, and a house. He had like a house, and but he also had. So his place that I was staying at was like a witness protection thing. His story was that they kept him in solitary for too long, and so they had to give him this. But it's probably like some kind of witness protection, or he could even have been a cop or something. I fucking don't know.
Dude, maybe because cops get drawn into it too when you know they're living the life. But you actually have to put on that lifestyle. Yeah, you're gonna do the stuff.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, really, that's kind of fuzzy, you know, especially because back then I was a youth, so I observed a lot, but I'm sure I didn't observe because there were certain scenarios in my life when I was young. Looking back, I'm like, yo, that was clearly what was going on. How did I not see it? Just out there doing, like, the most randomest things, like the stuff that exactly what you're not supposed to do, you know? And if I had the opportunity to just chill at my mom's house during that point in time and do the small things that I was actually there to do, because really all I wanted to do was smoke weed and like get, you know, have friends, you know, like I just wanted to smoke weed and have friends. And if I could have done that at my mom's house, we definitely wouldn't have been out there stealing cars. We wouldn't have been out there selling drugs. We would have been out there fucking, I remember we drove up on this dude's lawn. Just did donuts in the front yard because he was talking shit on the phone until his grandma came outside with the baby talking about, oh, he doesn't mean it, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and then we left. But like, you know what I'm saying? But we used to do shit like that. The casualties of the situation, you know what I mean? But I'm saying we used to do shit like that. Whereas like we could have just been, you know, I mean, there is crazy shit that goes on out in the suburbs, and yes, I mean, I did get in, but there's nothing like as bad, you know, like I did a lot of questionable things, but most of it didn't happen in the suburbs. You know, we might have been smoking or doing drugs or something, but we very rarely did anything that was going to harm anybody else. Whereas like when I was hanging out like in the city streets, I remember one time I had washed my coat and it like, when I washed it, it like had a hole that ripped in the bottom, but I had this hole in my pocket. I used to stuff stuff in the pocket like drugs and stuff, and so we got like an ounce of weed, you know. And I put it in my pocket, and then I went to go sell it, you know, I like hopped in this car, and I'm looking fucking everywhere, and then I figure out that it must have like fallen out of my pocket, out of my coat. Yo, so that was like the most, because, you know, I owe this dude some money, so I'm like, fuck. And so I just remember the whole rest of that night, I was just basically out there like, oh yeah, man, what you need? And then like, I just take their money and like dip off, you know, like just dip off. And it could have turned violent, you know, if they like chased me or something, or just, it just could have been bad. And then I didn't really even come close to getting the amount of money that I needed, but there was this dude, you know, part of the crew, and all these cats were old, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like 13, 14, most of these cats were like 23, 27 or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So like, I was really out there. So like, there's this dude, he was a bouncer at the strip club that was right there, and he never went and picked up his final check. So he went and got the final check, cashed that shit, paid out old boy. I never heard nothing about it. But that was like,
wow.
Yeah.
So he did you a solid.
Did me a solid. And it was crazy because I saw him in college. I actually went back and I went to college. And he was there. Like, he was at college, you know, doing whatever. I'm like, hey, bro, you don't remember me? He's like, nah. Like, who the fuck are you? And it's because I cut my hair. I'm like, I'm not as big. You know, it's just like I'm a completely different person now. But yeah,
Wow.
it was crazy. I'm like, yeah, bro,
I did
know
see your
you.
pictures. You did look a lot different. I was like, no way. I'm like, which one are you? Like that one. I'm like, no.
What do you mean?
You showed me a picture of you. I think you were froed out.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
It didn't even look like you. Like your face didn't even look like you. That girl just crawled out the bushes. Girl, what is you doing?
Where?
She straight up crawled out the bushes.
Talking about this dog?
No, this girl.
What girl?
This human being.
Where?
Female. She started walking that way. She crawled up those bushes. Yeah. These are interesting things on these streets.